So it seems that every few months I make a video like this about Tommy being banned or censored or removed from something or other, and I don't like making the videos, but it's like that's just the newest thing that's been happening. So this is from CNET. YouTube reportedly restricts far-right activist Tommy Robinson, but doesn't ban him. Now, I find it interesting that they added that in the title, like, but doesn't ban him, as if that's, I mean, maybe this is me jumping the gun, but it seems to me like that's their way of saying, like, oh, it didn't outright ban him, just to put the word ban in their mindset, that like, hey, that just to point out that no, he hasn't been banned yet. If you disagree with that, remember, he hasn't been banned yet. And as far as it seems, like whenever YouTube restricts someone off YouTube, it's not like the people at YouTube are just randomly making this decision, like, oh, we should do this. It always seems to be lobbying. It always seems to be activists are really putting pressure on YouTube. You need to remove this guy. You need to ban this guy. And then every so often they give in a little bit. And that seems to be what's happening. YouTube has placed major restrictions on the channel of UK far-right activist Tommy Robinson, a report said Tuesday. Of course, they never defined the term far-right. I mean, just last week, The Economist referred to Ben Shapiro as alt-right, and they didn't actually come out and apologize, which I don't think that was out of malice. I think that was just bad reporting, and it's still bad reporting on their parts, but that's what that seemed to be. But yeah, of course, like, again, what is far-right? Like, I've said this a million times. You can't define far-right. I have articles, misconceptions of the far-right, on how it's such a vague term that, like, again, what is far-right? Well, far-right just means further to the right, or considerably farther to the right than the person using the term far-right, basically. But of course, that people take that in their own sense. So when I think far-right, I think neo-Nazi, I think fascist. That is legitimately far-right. But when I think far-right, I don't think Tommy Robinson, because he is, I would say, slightly to the right of me. Not really that much farther to the right than where I sit on the spectrum. So that is, and I don't think I'm unique in that respect. I think the average person, when they would go down the list of Tommy Robinson's views, I don't think they would consider him far right. So I consider, again, this is bad journalism on the parts of CNET. The video streaming site hasn't banned the English Defense League founder, but his new videos won't have views, suggested videos, likes, or comments, according to BuzzFeed. Now, I think the reason they picked Tommy Robinson as like a punching bag when it comes to labeling him far right, I think the reason he gets it a lot more than other people is because he actually does have ties to the far right. Now, hear me out here. Like, I'm not saying that makes him far right. I'm not saying that the ties are legitimate. I'm not saying the ties justify anything. I'm not defending what they're saying, but English Defense League founder, they always feel the need to throw that in. They always feel the need to say, like, oh, like English Defense League founder, because as far as I can tell, the English Defense League founder is considerably to the right and farther to the right than Tommy Robinson is, because I read his book, was Enemy of the State, and if you read his book, which I don't expect the writers at CNET to have done, like, he goes through the situation of, yeah, his views are, like, he does overlap with the far right on some views. It just so happens that, as he points out in his book numerous times, whenever someone that is legitimately far right is like, yeah, I want to join your organization, Tommy Robinson seems to be like, no, we don't want you here, go away. And they don't seem to point that out, that part. So whenever someone comes at me with the like Tommy Robinson is far right, I just point out that part of the book that he has said multiple times. And it doesn't seem to be something he's making up. It seems to be true that whenever someone that is actually far right shows up, he's just like, no, I don't want you here, go away. And that seems to be why he left the English Defense League. That seems to be his justification for it, according to him in his book. He left the English Defense League because it was too far right for him. It wasn't like, okay, I've got this organization just where I want it. I will let it to do its own thing so I can move on to other projects. No, he was like, yeah, this is too much for me. I'm stepping back. So I just think that's interesting that they're tying it to him. But again, they don't point out the fact. They have enough he has enough of ties to the far right to where they can throw out that little bit of information without giving the full story. And that's where they really go and abuse that. They don't point out the full story. They just point out the connections here without really pointing out the numerous times he's been like, yeah, like, I don't want anything to do with the far right. They pointed that out, and it's not even like he said that. It's actions that he has done. But that's why I find this so not necessarily interesting, because that takes that means I'm not really concerned about this. But yeah, they pick him because it's much easier to tie him there than it actually is. But of course, it's, again, a shoddy journalism, and we have to point that out. So whenever anyone brings that up, whenever anyone says, like, oh, he's far right, I think that's the best example. It's just to say, okay, like, what about all the numerous times that far right people have tried to join his organizations and been like, hey, I want to work with you, and he's been like, no, I don't want to work with you. No, he's been pretty good at just stepping back from them. But anyways, back to the actual censorship part. Neither YouTube nor Robinson immediately responded to requests for comment. Robinson, who's really... I kind of wonder, how at this point, how can you respond to comment? It's pretty much just email, as far as I've seen. Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, which... Why do they need to point that? I find that so weird. Why do they need to point that out every time? It's like, yeah, he's got different names. A little shady, sure. But again, what I found with reading his stuff is it's like he always seems to have a relatively valid example for each of the things he's done, even though I think it goes overboard sometimes. And he even admits, like, yeah, sometimes I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I think I went to a bit too far that time. But they always seem to make it out worse than it actually is. It's like, okay, he went by a different name. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, like, Tommy was a nickname as a kid. I'm trying to remember exactly why he has that. Like, it was some nickname as a kid. But it's just, they always seem to make it out. They always seem to include just enough context to make it worse than it actually is. Was slapped with a Facebook and Instagram ban in February for breaking hate speech rules. Again, it's just hate speech rules. Like, what hate speech rules? The problem with hate speech rules is, again, what is hate speech? What defines hate speech? I got banned for a joke. Or I didn't get banned, sorry. On Facebook, one of my posts got removed because it was a joke. And they said, like, this is hate speech. And I got them to manually review it. And they're like, this is still hate speech. It's like, I didn't even, like, say anything. Like, where was the hate? I didn't even, like, there wasn't even any hate in the joke. The joke wasn't even referencing hate or anything. It was dumb. But yeah, hate speech rules is, again, like, what is hate speech? Well, hate speech is, basically unpopular political speech, pretty much, as we were seeing with Tommy Robinson. It's like, has he professed hate for anyone? It's like, sure, he has professed hate, but hate for what, pedophiles, for jihadis? And of course, when he says, yes, I hate jihadis, people were like, oh my god, he hates all Muslims. And it's like, are you really saying that by someone hating jihadis that you're tying jihadis to saying, yes, jihadis applies to all Muslims? I always find that interesting, where someone's like, yeah, the suicide bombers, the radical terrorists, yeah, I'm opposed to those. And people are like, oh my god, you're opposed to all Muslims? It's like, you're making the connection there, not me. I just find that interesting. Addressing hate speech has been a major issue for social media sites. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube gave conspiracy theorist Alex Jones the boot last year. Again, addressing hate speech has been a major issue for social media sites, implying that, like, are they trying to imply that's a good thing? I don't know. It's been a major issue, but issue implies it's a problem. Like, actually, the way they word that, they're not entirely wrong. Addressing hate speech has been a major issue for social media. Yes, it is an issue that they are addressing hate speech. I will agree in that respect. Facebook also banned pages linked to far-right extremists, the Proud Boys, in October following violence in New York. Now notice again, like, you take an organization like the Proud Boys, which I'm told, like, has a few far-right people in it. The organization itself is not far-right. Apparently, like, I listened to Joe Rogan, said it was a joke. So you're taking an organization like the Proud Boys that has some links to the far-right. Links. I'm not saying they're far-right, I'm saying they have links. But now they're taking organizations that are linked to organizations that are linked to the far right. Notice how that's going. Notice how far the guilt by association goes. They will ban a page if it's linked to an organization that is linked to far right extremists. It's like, again, the guilt by association is ridiculous here. The links exist, but, like, that's the thing. I'm not denying that the links exist. I'm saying using these links, these tiny little bit of links, it's like the Russia collusion stuff. It's like, you can find a link, sure. But it's like, you can find a link that attached to this person, to this person, to this person. You can make a connection, like the conspiracy theorists have the Charlie from It's Always Sunny. Just has all these things on his walls, all the different lines of thread on a poster board. It's like, you can make those connections. Sure, you can find those links, but the links are worthless. That's what I'm saying. I'm not denying the links. I'm saying the links are worthless. You cannot make judgments like this based on links. You cannot say, oh my god, this person, like they did with Jordan Peterson, like, oh my god, this person got a picture with a fan, and therefore he is tied to it's nonsense. It's total nonsense. Everything Apple announced, what we know about, I was gonna say this is the end of the article. Those are just advertisements. For a second, I actually almost fell for that. But yeah, that's it. And there's also a BBC one here, which says pretty much the same thing, but they have an extra few sentences here. It has imposed the further restrictions after talking to external reports and academic researchers about the types of videos shown on the channel. So it's put in the limited state thing, as far as I can tell, where or the future videos will be put in a limited state where you can't like, you can't comment. That's according to both BBC and CNN and BuzzFeed. I guess they're both taking it from BuzzFeed. But they're saying we are applying a tougher treatment to Tommy Robinson's channel in keeping with our policies on borderline content. BuzzFeed said the steps taken by YouTube would make Mr. Robinson's videos undiscoverable unless followers sought them out specifically. The latest action comes after politicians called on YouTube to follow other social media companies in limiting the exposure Mr. Robinson enjoyed on their platforms. So note here, 3 different things. Rather interesting. They're taking tougher treatment in line with their policies. They're going to make them undiscoverable unless followers sought them out specifically. You know what this means. If you want to do something about this, if you're upset about this, if you find a problem, like, you have to do something about this. You have to spread the videos. You have to let people know about them. There's still, as far as I know, Tommy Robinson's still on Minds and Gab. I don't even know if he is, if I follow him on there, because to be honest, I don't follow him too closely. I know I'm subscribed to him on YouTube, but remember, Minds and Gab, like, seek him out. Even if you're not someone that uses Minds and Gab, like, as social media sites, what I do is with a lot of my friends, because they get banned from Facebook every so often, is I try to have external contact with them, like a cell phone number or an email or that. But if you can't do that, if they're not your personal friend and there's someone like Tommy Robinson, follow them on Minds, follow them on Gab. You always need to have a backup. I'm sure he has like an email mailing list now. You can't really get rid of that. So that's what you have to do. Make sure you're following them on these alternative things and make sure other people know about them. I found that apparently Facebook, like, allows Minds.com links. They actually used to block Minds.com links for a while. Then they changed it to where you had to, like, say, I am not a robot to post them. So they added, like, an extra barrier there. But you can still post that stuff. So just pointing that out. And, of course, I will link his channel in the description to this video because his channel is still there. It's just impossible to find without a direct link. Now the third sentence here, the third section. The latest action comes after politicians called on YouTube to follow other social media companies in limiting the exposure Mr. Robinson enjoyed. So this is politicians here. Like, these aren't even activists. These are politicians saying, YouTube, you should do this. You need to do this. And YouTube gave in. So remember who's behind this. Like, it's like, you can blame YouTube all you want. And sure, like, YouTube is surely to blame for not taking the principled approach, I would argue. But it's the politicians that are really pushing this stuff. You got to make sure that you got to find out who is pushing this stuff, and basically, I don't even know how you lobby. I don't even know how you lobby YouTube to do the opposite. But it seems to be whoever's the best at lobbying, and it seems that the censors are the best at lobbying thus far. So and that's unfortunate. I'm not even sure what you do about that other than lobby in the opposite direction. Last year he was banned on Twitter and PayPal, and now he is thought to rely on email and Snapchat. Okay, Snapchat's another one. I don't use Snapchat, but apparently he's on there. But yes, he has an email list. I forget the website. It's like TommyRobinson.online or something, a weird site. But anyways, I will leave all that stuff in the description. And just to prove it, here's what happens. This is my YouTube account. Doing a search for him. I did a search. I filtered it here, so it is only searching by channels. No, so to remove all the other videos of him on it, because I get it. Like, there are times where if you search my channel, you're gonna find all these videos before you actually find my channel. That's typical. But if I search specifically for channels, notice how, like, rather than Tommy Robinson's actual channel with 300 something thousand subscribers, you get all of these other, like, fan accounts by the same name. 162, 2,000 subscribers, 630 subscribers, 1 subscriber, 6 subscribers. So you're getting all of these other things, and these are all things by his name. And you're not, like, again, they're all coming up in the search, but not his actual channel. And you'd think that, hey, like, you'd think that the channel with 300,000 subscribers would come up in the search as number 1, but it doesn't. And then the Rebel Media as well. So Rebel Media is probably benefiting from this. But yeah, so let me know what you think in the comment section. Leave a comment. Leave a like on the video too. That helps boost this video. I'm gonna cash in on this maybe. Like, if you boost this, if this video gets out there, like that spreads the link to Tommy Robinson's channel in the description. At least that's one other video out there that is kind of like overcoming the algorithm and helping get his channel out there, because I've done this before with people I don't like. Like, there are all kinds of YouTubers I don't like. I think Mr. Medicare was one of them, where when he was banned for like 24 hours, I made a video on it, and I was like, yeah, here's the link to his channel, or here's the link to his, not his channel, sorry, he's like all his alternative media and stuff, and that's what I did. So I think this is just a principled thing you have to do, whether you like him or not, whether you like these people or not, you got to get their stuff out there. I think, it's good to at least make their information available. And as I said before, I've done that with loads of other YouTube channels. Sometimes the ones I don't really like. I will admit, people have called me out on, like, oh, well, like, what, you never talk about these people being banned or these people being banned. I'll admit, there are some channels that get banned and I don't know about it because I don't follow their circles. So I'm sure that obviously I'm not keeping count of everyone. But there was maybe I'll make a video on that. There was some other channel I saw that was like an actual far left channel that was banned yesterday, just kind of removed. It was called like, started with an S, but maybe I'll make a video on that, or maybe I'll leave the link in the description to this video too, just to give them a bit of exposure, because like, I'll be fair, they were banned too, and just kind of suddenly banned for no reason. But yeah, that's the problem people have with YouTube. Honestly, it's not even that people disagree with their policies so much as their policies are hard to determine. Like, it's not like if they were to lay out a set rule and just blatantly say, this is our rule, this is how it works, and we're going to apply it to everyone, then fine. Then, like, okay, that's fine. I think it's dumb, but okay, I can respect that at least. But the problem is where they'll just suddenly say, like, okay, this channel, bam, like, deleted. Or this channel, like, just removed for some reason, who knows why. And they'll say, like, oh, this video striked, why? Who knows? And they'll just, it seems so arbitrary. And part of me thinks that when you're running a site like YouTube, there is no other way to do it than arbitrary. It is so hard to apply everything across the board because there's so much you have to control. Like, this is one of the problems with, like, authoritarianism and overarching, like, monitoring of society, is that it's bad to do it, but it just can't work. And whether it's a government or whether it's a very large corporation, that doesn't take away from the fact that it just cannot work. Like, I can't imagine how anyone could look at YouTube and think, yeah, this is something that we can control rather fairly. Like, we can limit certain things being said on here. It's like, honestly, I think the best way to do it is just to step back, admit that we can't control this stuff. Like, we can focus all of our efforts on maybe cracking down on the illegal stuff, like actual criminal things that are completely illegal, like, I don't know, child pornography or something like that. There's no reason to step back and say, well, we can take charge of that. That's something you can do. But just remember, like, it's as they're trying to increase what they're trying to limit, it just gets harder and harder to the point where it's pretty much impossible. So it's not even a moral argument against this, but it's also a pragmatic argument that it's just not going to work. You're going to have stuff like this where they're going to try and they're going to take bits and bits and bits. And that's the best they can do, is just chip at it, bits at a time, and start taking down random channels like this. And of course, it still exists, but it's in a completely limited state. So, who knows? But I'll leave the link in the description if you want to follow it. Hopefully this channel, or hopefully this video doesn't get restricted, because I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube had some kind of thing set in place where, I know Facebook does, where if you mention Tommy Robinson, like that you're risking your channel getting banned. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. I know I went on a ramble like a few minutes after I said that, and thanks for watching.